the continuing part of Session 6 of Rail Transport. In this video, I'll try to explain the factors that determines how the cost of freight is established in rail transport. There are 6 main factors that determines the cost of transport or the cost of freight in international rail transport. The 6 factors are distance, nature of goods, dimension of goods, type of payment, type of transportation, and type of rail wagon. Obviously, when goods are carried over longer distance, they will cost more money or more freight. And if they are carried over just short distances, they will cost less. So that is just pure logic. The nature of goods may also determine the cost of freight, because if valuable goods have to be transported, they may take special loading units. They may require special security and care to get the goods to the destination. So the nature of goods would also affect the cost of freight. The dimension of goods would also still affect the freight, because if goods being shipped or transported are extensive, then they will require probably the longer versions of the different types of wagons. If the dimensions of goods are just short, not that extensive, it may require the use of the shorter wagons, but definitely 40-footer wagon or 18.5 meter or 20 meter or 25 meter wagon would cost more to use than using a 12 meter or 15 meter wagon. So definitely the dimension of goods is one main determinant of the cost of freight in rail transport. Then the type of payment. When clients are paying upfront, they would always have the say. They would always have a chance to bargain for lower costs. But for clients who are paying on account for deferred payments, the cost of freight may differ. The type of transportation used may also determine the cost of freight. If goods are to be transported using combined transport system, they may definitely differ in cost than from transporting goods using multimodal system, where goods will be handled at transshipment points, and there may be the goods may require the use of different sort of wagon or loading units. So if you are using 2 or more loading units, it may cost more than just the use of 1 loading unit from forwarding station to destination. The cost of loading may involve the use of special equipment, handling equipment. So that would increase the loading cost. And if the loading cost is high and it will cost more to discharge as well, that would make the cost of freight go higher. If you use a higher version of trains, maybe a higher operating system on the higher rail classes, trains may be able to travel faster. So the tariff for such higher class rail classes may be higher than the tariff of lower line classes. So the type of transportation used would definitely affect the freight cost in many ways. The type of rail wagon used would also determine the freight cost, in that if you require the use of a reefer or refrigerated container, which would need power, electricity, whilst the goods are in transit, or even when they are loaded, they are ready or there's accepted for loading, it creates cost and all the way to the destination. So the type of rail wagon used would also affect the cost of freight. Other factors that may, affect freight costs include situation in the market, volume of transport, and negotiating skills of either the consignor or the freight forwarder. When the situation in the market is such that carriers are struggling to obtain cargo for shipment, they may lower tariff. And if the demand is for their service is low, they will also lower the tariff in order to attract more clients to use their services. So the situation in market, whether the demand is higher or low, would affect the freight cost. The volume of transport would also affect the cost, because if it's a service that will run at all costs, then the cost is already established. So if they forfeit freight or do not carry a freight, the cost is established. So whatever comes will be welcome. If the volume of cargo is extensive or higher, the owner of the cargo may have the upper hand to negotiate for lower cost using the factor of economy of scale. So the volume of transport, the volume of cargo would also determine also the cost of freight. The last other factor would be the negotiation skills. If a forwarder or a consigner have very good negotiation skills, they might negotiate for lower cost or lower tariffs. So it's a very useful skill for a forwarder to have very good negotiating skills. Get the client to say yes. And there is a publication that I read many years back that getting to say yes to be an additional, soft skill for a forwarder to be able to convince clients to agree to, what they want to convince them of. And it's good for every business person, because, very good for business persons or business executives to know how to negotiate in terms of cost for their businesses. So that does for the basic principles for freight costs. The 6 main, bases for determining freight costs are distance, nature of goods, dimensions of goods, type of payment, types of transportation, types of rail wagon. They all determine it. But besides that, 3 other factors also may come into play, which include situation in the market, volume of transport, and then negotiating skills of either the shipper or the forwarder.